Corporate media. Corporate media, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, New York Times, Washington Post, Vice, Vox, BuzzFeed, all the fancy magazines. You kind of help lay the foundation for people to act irrational. You kind of help the crazy temperature to rise up even more, because let's face it, in this country where we lack mental health, where we lack healthcare in general, corporate media, all your propaganda and fear will cause all those who clearly suffer from mental issues to act in a certain way, to do things that shouldn't be done. And when you create an environment of fear, especially the way you have propagandized Trump, calling him the next Hitler, of course, people who are not rational, who are unable to think critically for themselves, are going to consume and believe that propaganda, because for a long time, corporate media, you have presented yourselves as authoritative sources. Now, the job of independent media is to sift through the lies, but the thing is, you helped create this. Corporate media did help create this environment of fear. Donald Trump is no different than any other politician. But yet, the fear of Trump derangement syndrome has caused people to lose their ability to think critically. And so the thing is, I want everyone to still maintain their ability to think critically. But Tucker Carlson did bring up this incident a while ago, saying that all this fear-mongering, all this attempt to get Trump off the ballot or preventing him to run again in 2024 was going to lead up to something like this. So I want to play this short 54-second video of Tucker Carlson addressing this very same situation. So let's go ahead and play this.
They called him names. He won anyway. They impeached him twice on ridiculous pretenses. They fabricated a lot about what happened on January 6th in order to impeach him again. It didn't work. He came back. Then they indicted him. It didn't work. He became more popular. Then they indicted him 3 more times. And every single time his popularity rose. So if you begin with criticism, then you go to protest, then you go to impeachment, now you go to indictment, and none of them work, what's next? I mean, graph it out, man. We're speeding toward assassination, obviously, and no one will say that, but I don't know how you can reach that conclusion. You know what I mean? Like, they have decided, permanent Washington, both parties have decided that there's something about Trump that's so threatening to them, they just can't have him. They called him names.
So I want to pull up something here as well. This is from RT, and I also have another Twitter link to show as well. First of all, let me first pull up this tweet as well. This is from Tara Bull, and it's just a whole thread of the propaganda around Trump, or trying to turn him into something that he's not. You have Stern Magazine with Trump doing a Zig Heil, which is not correct at all. Then they got Opinion. Yes, it's okay to compare Trump to first name Adolf, last name Hitler. Don't let me stop you. These are 2 different people altogether. They have nothing in common. They are very different. That's from the Washington Post. The New Republic. They're giving him the old mustache. The Economist. The threat to world trade. Like Biden or Bill Clinton, Obama, Bush Jr., Bush Sr., or Ronnie Boy Reagan hadn't done that either. Then, of course, you have Der Spiegel from Germania giving Trump a certain white hood. Then, of course, you have the New Yorker, the great dictator. Then, of course, you have the New York Times, again, portraying him as this. Then you have Der Spiegel again, a middle finger from Trump. Then, of course, you have Daily News. Trump is Dr. Evil. The New Yorker, corruption. All politicians are corrupt. Of course, then you have Lady Liberty's head chopped off. So, yes, you have all these people outraged, angry at Trump because he represents, I guess, their fear. They're afraid. Everybody's afraid. And then, of course, you have, the first CNN headline. CNN, did you really think I was going to let this go? Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after he falls at rally. Boy, that is a fantastic way to break down how somebody got shot. Oh, he just fell down. See, Joe Biden, he falls down. Joe Biden will fall down. Trump getting shot. Oh, he just fell down too. No, 2 different things altogether. Way 2 different things altogether. And so in turn, this leads many people to wonder, how did it get like this? This is from RT. While the attempted assassination of Donald Trump has been roundly condemned by his political opponents, liberal politicians and pundits have implicitly and explicitly called for his death before. Trump narrowly avoided death at a campaign rally at Butler, Pennsylvania on Saturday when an assassin's bullet apparently clipped his ear as it whizzed past his head. The shooter, named by the FBI as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks, who was in a BlackRock ad, by the way, killed one spectator at the rally and wounded 2 others before he was shot dead by Secret Service agents. You have many people saying, off with his head. You got Hollywood celebrities. Kathy Griffin. Remember she did that and then cried about being canceled? Take him out. Take him out, not to the ball game, but you have, at MSNBC, you have a few people like this. Hey, take it away.
But his rhetoric is really getting dangerous, more and more dangerous. And we saw what happened on January 6th when he uses inflammatory rhetoric now, and his recent Truth Social post is incredibly, incredibly scary for anyone that might be trying to work in government. And it is just unquestionable at this point that man cannot see public office again. He is not only unfit, he is destructive to our democracy, and he has to.
And so when you have people talking like that, it leads people to lose their ability to think critically. A threat to democracy. Hey, from Joe Biden, Donald Trump is a genuine threat to this nation. He's a threat to our freedom. He's a threat to our democracy. He's literally a threat to everything America stands for, to which I have to say, what makes any Democrat or Republican politician serving in Washington, D.C. any different? Stripped of protection. You have all these people saying these things, all these people trying to go after him, trying to silence him. I want to pull up this little interview from CNN because it's important for us to really talk about the environment of fear. This isn't the first time corporate media created an environment of fear. Long before Trump threw his hat in the ring, remember, there was 9/11 and everything that followed afterwards from the year 2001. Corporate media, especially after that horrific incident that took place, what happened then was they created an environment of fear. Fear. That's what they did. So let's go ahead and play this video.
The rhetoric around him over the last few weeks that if he wins an election, our country will end, our democracy will end, it's the last election we'll ever have. These things have consequences. Okay, I don't know what the motivations of the shooter are. I don't know any of the details, but I know the rhetoric around Trump has grown extreme. You mentioned some other violence. You didn't mention the Supreme Court attempted murder of a Supreme Court justice or the congressional baseball game where Steve Scalise was nearly murdered. One a conservative, the other a Republican. But we have people in this country who are dedicated to telling half the country that if Donald Trump wins an election, the country will end, the Constitution will go away, and so on and so forth. What I want to hear from all elected officials is this kind of hyperbolic extremism has consequences and it must end. Yes, we're all shocked, and yes, political violence has no place. Where does it come from? It's got to stop.
But we're also hearing from Trump very, very strong statements of condemnation.
Yeah, here's Wolf Blitzer doing the CNN, but it's both sides. Look, we've seen corporate media do this, and Fox News is no saint either. All of corporate media has failed us. And in a country where healthcare or getting quality healthcare, mental health care, or getting a livable wage or having security in general for your peace of mind is nothing but a dream, a fantasy at this point. When you have corporate media adding more fuel to the fire, it's going to cause people to act mentally unhinged. It's going to cause people to react violently and presume that because corporate media, being the authoritative sources, is telling the truth, we must believe that it is fact. Well, how many times has corporate media lied to us? They lied to us about weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. They lied to us about Hunter Biden's laptop story. They lied to us about the fact that our politicians aren't that corrupt, or either that they refuse to even talk about it. It's all a system of lies. And when you create a system of lies, you create a system of fear because you don't know what the truth is. And when you don't know what the truth is, you're going to react violently. And CNN and MSNBC created this fear around Trump. Look, I understand what a Trump presidency might mean to the vote blue, no matter who crowd. But listen, Democrats, liberals, vote blue no matter who, and progressives who think you could still reform the Democratic Party. Bill and Hillary Clinton encouraged Trump to run before 2016. They did. They encouraged it. Now, of course, he was going to run, but they gave him that boost. Corporate media was the one that decided to boost up Trump's empty podium in 2016. Not Trump. They chose to give him billions of dollars worth of free press, and they did. Never forget what Les Nunez of CBS once said. What Trump says is bad for America, but it's good for CBS. And then came all the fear-mongering. Everyone afraid that we're going to lose freedom and this, that, and the other. Hey, all you activists and social justice warriors, when Trump was kicked out in 2020, where were all of you then? Because I haven't seen all of you. You don't show up in mass like you used to. It's almost as if corporate media told you to go to sleep and stop panicking. But now that Trump's running again, everyone's panicking again. I don't see anyone calling out their corrupt politicians who've been in office for 10, 20, 30 plus years. Where's the follow through? It's because people are following and being obedient to corporate media.
Of Biden, the worst president, the most dangerous president, and all of that. He's speaking very, very strongly against President Biden.
Who's in the hospital?
Well, we do. This is an assassination.
Look, I agree with you.
You say calm things down. I agree. Both sides should calm.
This moment is, if there was, what other wake up call could there be for everybody in this country right now? I am mortified. I mean, this will live on forever. These pictures we're seeing today will be in the history books of our children and our grandchildren. I mean, we're living through a historical moment, and we have to recognize it for what it is, and we have to change.
You have to cool the rhetoric on both sides.
We have to change
because it's really dangerous, and it foments what we just.
Corporate media, in 2016, you could have really done your job and actually challenged Trump. Never forget that Morning Blow. Oh yeah, Joe Scarborough, him. Hey, Mika, step aside, because I remember when Trump was running way back. Oh, boy, Morning Blow was ready to get on his knees and give Trump that hot tour. Oh, no. This is true. This is true. And then corporate media decided to get its marching orders from the establishment, turn Trump into a real bad guy, an awful man, even though he's no different than any other politician. And he isn't. He's no different. They decided to create this area of fear. And I've lost friends who suffer from Trump derangement syndrome because they consume the vile soup, the vile porridge that is CNN or MSNBC. I've lost friends that I care about. Thankfully, I've got some people back because they realize that they're being lied to. But folks, how many friends have we lost? Let's have democracy in the chat. Type 1 for, no, Kit, my friendships still stand no matter what has happened during these last 8 years. Going strong. Type 2, no, I've lost people that I care about. I've had some fallouts with people. I have, and it still hurts to this day.
Seen over the past couple hours or so, and it's a really, really scary
I wonder how many 2s will be in the chat.
Situation. You want to add a point there?
No, you just said it, Wolf. Scott, your point is so well taken that the escalation of rhetoric is something that, if you just look back in history, it doesn't take a lot to dig and find that people take cues from not just leaders, but from people around them. And when violence happens, sometimes things are uncorked, and it is important for leaders across the board, as we are seeing today, to tamp things down.
Oh, I like how corporate media is saying, even though they have the gas tank, an empty gas tank in one hand and a pack of matches in the other with a raging fire right behind, they're saying, like, guys, this fire's getting out of control. Let's do everything we can to calm it down, and we're going to help you out. Jesus Christ, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, New York Times, Washington Post, every single media article out there, you help create the environment of fear. You don't create the environment of information, or is that making us aware that our politicians are doing insider trading, or that, how about this, Puerto Rico, they're still having rolling blackouts. Flint, Michigan still doesn't have safe, clean drinking water, for Christ's sakes. That's been going on under Obama. Gee, corporate media, you're not addressing the fact of what happened to the people of Lahaina. Most devastating fire in American history ever. And what does the Biden-Harris administration do? Oh, if you have household one-time payment of $700. Hey, people of Lahaina, don't spend that $700 in one spot. What about the people of East Palestine, Ohio, where corporate media was giving platforms to people, especially those in the vote blue, no matter who sphere, saying, oh, it's a good thing that happened to those people of East Palestine, Ohio. They all voted for Trump. They all voted for Trump. How many do you know voted for Trump? How many do you know how many people you know in East Palestine, Ohio vote blue no matter who, or corporate media, which you help give a platform to? Those are U.S. citizens. And I don't give a damn what anyone voted for or who they voted for in East Palestine, Ohio. I don't give a damn about who people voted for in Lahaina. What I care about is that these are U.S. citizens. So U.S. citizens in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio, and in Lahaina, oh, guess what? They've been given the middle finger. But, a lot of Americans have been given a middle finger because of the sloppy work from CNN and MSNBC. And now they're surprised. Everybody calm down. It's like somebody encouraging a fight and then realizing the fight got out of hand. Jeez, man, that shouldn't have happened. The whole Ron Burgundy quote, that could really got out of hand. Somebody got stabbed with a trident. This is why we need independent media. And unfortunately, folks, I say things are going to get worse before they get better, because you got stuff like this happening now, rising up from the deep. CBS cybersecurity expert urges social media platforms to act responsibly and step in as appropriate to stop misinformation about attempted assassination about Donald Trump, as the gray space of information about the gunman has been filled immediately with speculation. Geez. Yeah, I trust big tech and corporate media to lead us after they've been doing such a stellar work. Tucker Carlson was right. Let's go ahead and play this video.
It is a cesspool online on social media right now.
Oh, shut up. That's a cesspool even listening to corporate media.
When we are looking at actors like the man who carried out this attack, this 20-year-old, one of the things that's being looked at is his social media profile and who he may or may not have been in contact with.
Or who he follows. Oh no, was he following a certain person? Gee, it's like corporate media, how they did smear and slander attacks against Joe Rogan, against Tucker Carlson, against Jimmy Dore. Gee, or what about when the vote blue no matter who sphere decides to go after independent media, or silence and criticize people for speaking truth to power? Or what about all the times corporate media ignored Julian Assange or Edward Snowden? Yeah, corporate media, but somehow social media is a cesspool. Look, I get it. Twitter, X is a cesspool, but it's the pot calling the kettle black, don't you think? CBS.
Can you explain to us what they are looking for there and what you are seeing in terms of the risk of radicalization online?
Right. Well, as of now, we don't know if there's a connection between the shooter, the would-be assassin, and any existing online groups. That's part of what happens in an investigation. And I'm sure over time we will see the results of that investigation. I would note that in the meantime, the gray space, the open space, the narratives have been filled immediately with speculation of who this person may be. In fact, there were false identifications. At the same time, there were trolls that said, hey, this was me. And so it is a very, very vibrant space in the worst possible way. And I think it's incumbent upon everyone, including social media platforms, to act responsibly and step in as appropriate in line with terms of service to ensure that this does not spin further out of control.
As someone who's gone through the ringer of being censored, silenced, suppressed, and demonetized, being terminated, I don't wish that on my worst enemy. And I've helped out my fair share of colleagues in independent media when they've gone through the ringer, such as RBN and Due Dissidence and INN, because trust me, folks, navigating this cesspool is a nightmare. But let's have democracy in the chat. Do you trust social media to act responsibly? Type 1 for yes, Kit. Come on. What could possibly go wrong? You're just overreacting. Type 2, man, no. Here comes the jackboot of censorship. I wonder how many 2s we'll get in the chat. I wonder. But the correct answer is 2. Because here comes that jackboot. You must follow the orders. Again, I just want to play this video of Tucker Carlson. I'll bring this up one more time.
They called him names. He won anyway. They impeached him twice on ridiculous pretenses. They fabricated a lot about what happened on January 6th in order to impeach him again. It didn't work. He came back. Then they indicted him. It didn't work. He became more popular. Then they indicted him 3 more times, and every single time his popularity rose. So if you begin with criticism, then you go to protest, then you go to impeachment, now you go to indictment, and none of them work, what's next? I mean, graph it out, man. We're speeding toward assassination, obviously, and no one will say that, but I don't know how you can reach that conclusion. You know what I mean? Like, they have decided, permanent Washington, both parties have decided that there's something about Trump that's so threatening to them, they just can't have him. They called him.
So, and I remember when Tucker Carlson posted that, and when he made that statement, and people were laughing at him. He wasn't wrong. And when you have mentally ill people out there, and there's a lot of things suspicious about how this whole thing went down. And I do have to say, if that round was any more closer, this country would have been a powder keg that had been exploded. And corporate media has been adding fuel and ammunition and more powder to that keg in order for there to be an epic explosion. And now they're realizing that they have this massive bomb that they have to defuse. And so for 8 years of Trump derangement syndrome, which was promoted by corporate media and the vote blue no matter who liberals fear, you realize that now you have a nightmare situation in which somebody or anybody could potentially go ham and do some harm. And it's not just towards Donald Trump. I mean, let's face it. We have a media outlet here, a media system that promotes fear. They don't promote information. They promote fear, fear, fear. Let's face it. Americans were suffering from an opioid crisis, an economic crisis, a medical healthcare crisis. Our whole institutions are falling apart, and yet Americans are being ignored. So why does it come as a surprise to corporate media that Americans would react violently or act irrationally? When you create an irrational environment, expect rational people to act irrational or do things in a matter of way in which they might feel safe. When you make people feel unsafe in your own country, good luck in telling them to calm down. Good luck in telling a family that everything will be okay, even though they have to make some very harsh decisions at the dinner table of, do you get food today, or do you go a week without eating? Do you pay the bills, or do we go a week without power, a week without water? Corporate media. And I know it's easy to blame a politician for what they say, but maybe if you did your job, perhaps maybe if the corporations didn't have full control of the media. By the way, thank you, Bill Clinton, Democrat, by the way, for the Telecoms Act. It was a Democrat who did it. I'm just saying, a Democrat who did it. Then, of course, you're going to have madness and insanity. And you're surprised. Tucker Carlson was right. Corporate media has failed us. And if we're going to build a better future, we need independent media.